Hi everyone, Jason here. This is a quick look at some new features in SmartData Solutions for June 2017. I know you'll like this update. Most of these improvements came from your comments and ideas, so let's jump into it and I'll show you what we have. The first thing you might notice is when you go to your project page, you'll see this new link for a dashboard here. So if we click that, we'll see we've added a dashboard that has panels for really all the information in the project. So you get all of your project setup information, your information about the client, addresses, locations of the site, all of your team members. You can upload data from here. Really everything that has to do with the site and your data downloads. A new section that we've added is the logs here, and what this is really, we're going to call this a user log. It's like an audit trail for the project. So any change that's made, any data that's uploaded or changed or deleted, reports that are created, graphics that are created, that all gets logged onto here with the date and time, the user, a summary of the change that was made, and what stations were affected. So that's just a handy summary of everything that happened in the project. It also helps if you have to go back and find out, when was this file uploaded, when was it deleted, do we have the latest version? This will help us figure those things out. So this was something that was suggested by a user. We thought that was a great idea, and so we put it into our build plan. The other thing we have here is a project progress tracker in this checklist here. So we've created a checklist for all the common things that you would do to set up a project. So for a brand new project, it'll start with just general information. You fill that out, get your project logo, all of your team members involved, and then you start to go down into the next steps. We'll edit stations, create all of our data uploads for our existing stations, plan stations, add the project data, create our summary, all the charts and graphics that we want to save. And every time we complete something, it goes from yellow to green. So if we say that all of our data is uploaded, click yes there, now that'll turn green. So that gives us a way to quickly visually see what steps we have left to do. We can see right off, starting from the top, are all of our GIS and CAD layers complete? Yes. Now that'll turn green and we can go to the next thing that we need to set up. So that's just a quick visual checklist for managing a project. The next thing to show you is that if we go to editing stations, we've added the capability here to add water levels. So if we see here, I've set a depth to water at 25 feet. So this is the depth to groundwater from, it could be a monitoring well survey, extraction well, whatever have you. So if you have groundwater elevations there, we can set those in depth units down from the top of the casing or from ground surface level. So we just say start editing, and then we can choose any of the points that we want and add a water level. So here's one, I'll add this one at 27 feet. So we save changes, and now those will be available to us in our site model. If we go in and create a chart with a few of these data points. So these are the ones that I added, groundwater, depth of groundwater. And you can see there's a little blue triangle icon at each of these. That's the depth of groundwater at that location. If we convert this into a transect, then we get our blue line connecting them, interpolating the groundwater level between each of those. So this was another thing that was suggested by users. It's a common thing for people to put on their cross-section charts, and so we wanted to be able to support that as well for all of your charts you're creating in SmartData. The next thing to show you is our contouring. We've always had contours available in our direct sensing data, but now we can create those in our lab data as well. So for any of the lab analyses, you can go to, here's a TCE for instance, we can turn on a plume there, and we can set the interpolation level using this slider here. So I've set it for 17 meters. There's a white paper on our site that explains what this is and how to choose these, but it's basically a geostatistical measure for how much spatial autocorrelation there is between these points. It's how much smoothing there is between them. So it allows you to create contours for our lab data. Nice addition on top of what we already had with LIF and MIP for a long time, but folks asked to be able to do that in lab data as well. So now we have that available for you. The other thing that we have that's another nice feature is that a lot of times if you have lab data, for instance, here's some project data, We have lots of compounds here, with a full 8260 style analysis. You might have dozens of compounds and you're really only interested in a few. So if we just add, we can edit these compounds here and then start to deactivate them. So if we're not interested in bromoform here or chloroform, we can turn off a few of these, just keep our TCE and benzene here. And then if we go back to, we'll update these visible compounds. If we go back to our site model, now we only have those two available. So it's a way to limit what data we're interested in seeing. And we have that available for LIF and MIP data as well. So if you're only interested in the total percent RE for LIF, for instance, and not interested in the individual channels, you just turn those off. That way it doesn't clutter up your charts, doesn't get in the way in the user interface. So another thing that's been requested by users. And then the last thing to show you is that in our dashboard under Overview, down here at the bottom we have our download section. So these are all of the custom download formats. And we've added shapefile here. So we can support Esri shapefile format. So you can bring that into your GIS, into your CAD, and it'll download a shapefile with all of the station locations and their identifiers and their elevations. So you can start to do some extra graphics and communicate with folks that are using GIS and CAD in addition to SmartData. So thanks. That's the set of major updates we have. There are a few, just sort of bug fixes and cleanup in here as well that you'll find out about in our blog posts, and we're updating all the help documents with this new version. As usual, please give us your comments and feedback right here in this little thought bubble icon here. You can send us a message. It can be a question about how to answer it. And if the system can figure out some articles to recommend right at the time, it'll do that. So if we write in adding lab data, then it'll actually recommend a few articles for us to view. And if those articles are helpful to you, great. If not, or if you just want to forward us a comment, just go ahead and send us that message, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. This will alert our team that we have some comments in the queue, and we'll get back to you via email. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for being continued SmartData users. We appreciate all the feedback that we get, and we're continuing to improve every day. So thanks.